Let's start. So yesterday we were discussing about antihelminthics. We came all the way up to pyrantel palmoate. I told you that pyrantel palmoate is a drug that will cause paralysis in the worm. Now the paralysis is due to acetylcholine effect. So whenever there is a lot of acetylcholine, it will generally lead to depolarization. So what this drug does is it will cause persistent depolarization, because of which the worm will undergo paralysis. That paralysis is because of continuous contraction. If it is continuously contracting, it will not be able to move at all. Okay, for you to move, you need to have contraction and relaxation. Okay, one muscle will contract, the other will relax. यहाँ पर the whole worm is undergoing contraction, because of which it will get paralyzed, and ultimately that paralyzed worm will not be able to stay in the intestine for long enough, and it will get excreted out of your body. So that was about parental palmoid, right? I discussed it yesterday. So today, coming to the another drug that will work in a similar way. This will also cause paralysis, but it will cause it in a different way. So we have piperazine citrate. Piperazine citrate क्या करता है? It will block acetylcholine. So as such, now to have some amount of contraction, you need acetylcholine. If there is excessive amount of acetylcholine, let's suppose ACH is way too much, it will cause continuous contraction. Okay, this will lead to spastic paralysis. This occurs in humans as well. If a patient has excessively high amounts of acetylcholine, it can lead to spastic paralysis. If I completely block acetylcholine out on the other end, let's suppose acetylcholine is very, very low and there is almost no attachment of acetylcholine to that particular receptor, there will be no contraction at all. If there is no contraction, the worm will undergo paralysis, but it is a different kind of paralysis. इसको flaccid paralysis बोलते हैं. ठीक है. Our piperazine citrate will work like this. ठीक है. Think of it this way. It will work like GABA. It will work like GABA agonist. It will increase the opening of chlorine channels, because of which depolarization occurs. If there is excessive amount of depolarization, this is because of blockage of acetylcholine, but it is similar to the action of GABA. Okay, because of excessive hyperpolarization, there will be no contractions inside the worm. If there are no contractions, it will lead to flaccid paralysis. The worm will get expelled. Okay. In either cases, either it is piperazine or if it is pyrantel palmoate, the worm is getting expelled due to paralysis. But that paralysis is induced due to two different mechanisms. Piperazine में acetylcholine को block कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पर piperazine receptor को stimulate कर रहे हैं. Okay, in pyrantel palmoate, you will stimulate the acetylcholine receptors in the worm. In piperazine, you will block the acetylcholine receptors in the worm. Either way, it will cause a different type of paralysis, because of which the worm will get expelled. Now, coming to PK of this drug, piperazine, it undergoes, 1 second, right. So it undergoes oral absorption, liver metabolism, and urinary excretion. Generally a well tolerated drug. You will not have a lot of problem with it. The only symptoms that you see are mild GIT symptoms. You will have slight nausea and vomiting. The patient might have headache, or sometimes the patient will also have urticaria. Okay, redness of the skin. If you give a high dose, it might lead to dizziness, especially if you give a toxic dose of piperazine. Toxic doses will lead to convulsions and death due to respiratory failure. Okay. So if you give a very high dose, normal dose of this is around 2 to 4 grams per day, not more than 2 to 4 grams per day maximum. Okay, 2 to 4 grams per day. Do not go over this limit max. Now, as such, this drug is safe in pregnancy, but one problem with piperazine is that it has shown to induce carcinogenicity. In some patients, or in some cases, it has induced cancer. So, because of that, until and unless it is really required, do not use piperazine in pregnant women. Okay, it is also contraindicated in renal insufficiency and in epileptic patients. So, contraindicated in renal insufficiency and epileptics. Okay, so that is about our piperazine citrate. Now coming to the next drug, niclosamide. See, most of the mechanism of actions that you will see in antihelminthics will be that you will paralyze the drug, or you will paralyze the worm, or you will kill the worm, and you will expel them out. Sometimes to expel the worm out, the drug itself will do that. Matlab, due to peristalsis, due to motions, it will come out, or else you will have to give a purgative like saline or something else. You will have to give something so that uh, जैसे कॉन्स्टिपेशन में जो ड्रग्स थे purgatives जो देते थे वैसे purgatives you'll have to give. ठीक है, just so that the worm gets excreted out of your body. Okay, इपेक्वाकुआना दे सकते हैं या अपोमॉर्फिन दे सकते हैं या कोई और टाइप ऑफ purgative दे सकते हैं. ठीक है. Now coming to niclosamide. Niclosamide is a dual drug. It was one of the first antihelminthics to be used. Nowadays, it has also been used in cancer. Okay, niclosamide has been used in AML, acute myeloid leukemia, and some other cancers as well. Useful. So you can use it for tapeworms and you can use it for H now. So you can use it for Taenia solium, Taenia saginata, and T saginata. You can also use it for Hymenolpis nana. Okay. One problem with using it with tapeworms is that specifically Taenia solium, some people will not use it with Taenia solium. What happens is, जो worm रहता ना, let's suppose this is the worm, ठीक है? Whenever you give the drug, this worm will get this worm will die, because of which the dead worm will get digested. ठीक है? Once you are giving niclosamide, within around 1 to 2 hours, that worm will die. ठीक है? Once it is dead, that dead worm gets digested by your body, and once it is getting digested, in Taenia solium's case, it will get desegmented. मतलब एक एक segment जो रहते हैं वो अलग हो जाते हैं. And the segment that contains the reproductive segments, ठीक है, that contains ova, those reproductive segments or those ova will get released out. These ova will become larvae, and these larvae can enter the other organs in your body. So it will enter systemic circulation and it will go to other parts of your body. It can go to kidneys, or it can go to liver, or it can go to spleen, any other organ, and it will cause visceral cysticercosis. Okay, visceral cysticercosis. Cysticercosis is something that is caused by Taenia solium, Taenia species. ठीक है, यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा, because Taenia solium is dying, the segment that contains ova that gets released out, and those ova are transforming into larvae, which will travel to other parts of your body. They will travel to various organs, and they will cause visceral cysticercosis. That is one of the reasons why several people do not use niclosamide for Taenia solium infection, even sometimes for Taenia saginata infections. Okay. Now the mechanism of action of the drug. Mechanism of action is that it will inhibit oxidative phosphorylation that is occurring in the mitochondria of the worm. उसको inhibit करता, because of which ATP generation does not occur. Inhibits ATP generation by inhibiting oxidative phosphorylation in mitochondria. Okay. In the of the worm. That is the mechanism of action. Now, how you know whether or not the patient has been treated is that once you give niclosamide, you will generally give with after 2 hours of giving niclosamide, you will give saline. Okay, you will purge the patient using saline. Once you purge the patient, you will see that scolex of that worm or scolex of Taenia saginata or scolex of Taenia solium, which is used to hook onto the intestine, that you can see in the stool. Okay, that will ensure that eradication of the worm has been completed. Because it is getting digested, you cannot be sure whether or not the worm has been completely removed. But if you can see that scolex of the worm, then you know that the patient has been cured of the helminthic. Hey guys, I got disconnected out of nowhere. So sorry. Right. So as you were discussing, told you that what do you call when you see scolex of the worm, you can know that the infection has been treated. Now, coming to adverse effects of the drug, it is generally well tolerated. It does cause abdominal discomfort. It can cause malaise. Sometimes it will cause pruritus, itching. Okay, pruritus and rashes. Now, these pruritus and rashes are generally due to the antigens that are released by the worm. Okay, once that worm dies, the dead segments of the worm, the dead proteins of the worm, they will act as an antigen, and they will trigger an inflammatory reaction, or they will trigger an allergic reaction, because of which there can be pruritus or there can be rashes in the patient, but it is generally rare. Okay, not very common. It's safe in pregnancy. You can give it in pregnancy. Uh, PK of this drug is unclear. We don't know clearly what how the pharmacokinetics of the drug occurs. So that is about niclosamide. Now coming to the next drug, praziquantel. Praziquantel जो है, this will also cause paralysis in the worm, but it is causing in a different way. Now, what it does is that it will increase the susceptible membrane permeability of calcium. So whenever you have, think of it this way, आपके body में if there is a skeletal muscle, and inside that skeletal muscle, let's suppose I am increasing the permeability of calcium, so that influx of calcium is occurring. एक muscle है, let's suppose this is the muscle, okay, and you are increasing the influx of calcium inside the muscle. Because of this, what happens is endoplasmic reticulum that is present inside your this thing inside your cell, that will start releasing more amount of calcium. This increased amount of calcium inside the cell will cause contraction of the cell. Now whenever we give praziquantel, there is continuous contraction inside the worm. Okay, so because of praziquantel is a drug that increases the membrane permeability of calcium. Whenever membrane permeability of calcium is increasing, it will cause continuous contraction in the worm, because of which the worm will undergo spastic paralysis, and it gets excreted out, or it gets expelled out. ठीक है, यहाँ पर acetyl choline से काम नहीं कर रहा है, यहाँ पर कैल्शियम से काम कर रहा है, but it is inducing the same thing. It is inducing paralysis in the worm. So increases membrane permeability of the worm to calcium, leading to calcium influx. A lot of calcium will come inside the worm. The result will be that continuous contraction in the worm, leading to paralysis. Okay? That is the mechanism of action of the drug. Now, sometimes what happens is, as I told you, like in the previous case, this drug is generally given for cystosomes. You can give it for cystosomes, sometimes for trematodes and cestodes as well. whenever you have cysticercosis, matlab you will give it for tinea solium, tinea saginata, you can give it for neurocysticercosis. Dose will vary depending on different type of infection, but you can give it for several things. Whenever those parasites die, their antigens can cause a allergic reaction. They can cause itching, rashes, urticaria, sometimes even fever will occur. Okay. Now coming to PK of the drug, this undergoes rapid oral absorption and it will have a high first pass metabolism. हाई फर्स्ट पास मेटाबॉलिज्म का इफेक्ट ये होता कि द बायोअवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ द ड्रग इज वेरी वेरी लो. ठीक है, इट विल गेट मेटाबोलाइज्ड बाय योर लिवर very quickly, and as you keep increasing the dose, the rate of metabolism will also increase, because of which bioavailability of the drug will be limited. F is limited. ठीक है, hence T half also will be very small because bioavailability is so low and the drug is getting metabolized so fast. T half is around 1.5 hours. Very short acting drug. If you give phenytoin or you give carbamazepine or you give dexamethasone with this drug, its metabolism will increase even further, because those are microsomal enzyme inducers. They will increase the rate of metabolism of the drug. So avoid giving praziquantel with phenytoin, carbamazepine and dexamethasone. Okay, they will increase the rate of metabolism, because of which T half will decrease even more. Okay, it will act for a very short period of time because of that. Now, as such, this drug crosses BBB. Okay. You can give it for neurocysticercosis. You can give it for other helminthic, CNS helminthic infections as well. Okay. Coming to adverse effects of the drug, it will cause GI disturbances, abdominal pain, abdominal discomfort, nausea, all of that. It tastes very bitter, because of which also nausea can occur. The patient might have itching, the patient might have headache and dizziness. So those are the side effects of praziquantel. Now, depending on what condition you are trying to treat or what infection you are trying to treat, dose will change. अगर tinea solium, tinea saginata है तो 10 mg per kg dose देते. You will give a single dose in the morning. Agar you are giving for neurocystic sarcosis, then the dose will increase. You will give around 50 to 100 mg per kg body weight. Okay, 50 to 100 mg per kg body weight in 3 divided doses. So 3 times one in day for almost half a month. For 15 days, you will give that drug. Okay, praziquantel. If it is neurocystic sarcosis. Now coming to the next drug, diethyl carbamazine. Diethyl carbamazine, इसको DEC भी बोलते हैं. This is specifically useful in filariasis. ठीक है, filarial infection due to Wuchereria bancrofti or due to Brugia malayi, दोनों में काम आता है. यहाँ पर this drug is also causing immobilization. It will immobilize using hyperpolarization. So mechanism of action induces hyperpolarization. Okay, because of which hence immobilizing the worm. Okay. Whenever this worm gets immobilized, now filarial worms or microfilaria उन लोगों को immobilize कर रहे हैं. Because of that, there'll be very very small worms. Okay, they get phagocytosed. So tissue fixed monocytes phagocytose the microfilaria. That is the mechanism of action. Okay. First, you immobilize the worm by hyperpolarizing the worm. Then your body's immune system, specifically tissue fixed monocytes, they will phagocytose the microfilaria. Microfilaria are very very small. Okay. You generally see them subcutaneously moving around inside the skin. Okay. Whenever a patient has Wuchereria bancrofti, these microfilaria will get phagocytosed by monocytes and they will die. PK is that it undergoes oral absorption. There is liver metabolism, and urinary excretion. Now, excretion of the drug will depend on the pH of the urine. Okay, this is faster in acidic urine. Mane, whenever you have a patient who is taking another drug, let's suppose they have a diseased condition, or they are taking another drug that is increasing, that is making the urine more acidic, decreasing the pH of the urine. In that case, rate of excretion of the drug will increase. Okay, that is why T half will change. So if you are giving another drug that is increasing the acidity of the urine, या फिर it is vertical, there is some other condition in the patient that is causing acidic urine, in either cases T half of the drug will change, because of which T half is variable. T half is between 4 to 12 hours. ठीक है, जितना ज्यादा acidic रहेगा यूरिन उतना कम टी हाफ रहेगा, because excretion rate is faster. ठीक है, adverse effects will be there is mild anorexia, loss of appetite, that is the patient will have nausea and vomiting, they might have dizziness and headache. Now, sometimes what happens is these worms that are dying, they will release antigens, because of which there will be a severe allergic reaction. Microfilaria tend to cause a severe allergic reaction, because of which you will have to give antihistamines, or you will have to give corticosteroids, just so that you can suppress that allergic reaction. Okay, antihistamines or corticosteroids. So prednisolone वो पूरे corticosteroids में आते हैं. Corticosteroids are given concomitantly with DEC for allergic reaction due to dying microfilaria. ठीक है, in some textbooks you will find microfilaria as MF. ठीक है, that is microfilaria. Normally the dose that you give of for microfilarial infection will be around 2 mg per kg body weight. You will divide it in 3 doses. You give it for 7 days. Generally within 7 days all microfilaria will die. Okay, this dose is for adults. You can give it in pregnancy as well, safe in pregnancy. Then we'll come to our last drug, which is ivermectin. Now ivermectin जो है, you can give it not only for microfilaria, you can also give it for nematodes, you can give it for arthropods, meaning you can give it for head lice, or you can give it for scabies, और उसमें भी काम आता है ivermectin. Generally ivermectin जो है, you will give it once a year. ठीक है, you will give it once per year. You will combine it with another drug. Very rarely you will increase the frequency of the drug, in the sense that once per 3 months or once per 6 months karte, but that is only when the infection is persistent and it is not going. Jab you will combine this with another drug and you will give it that way. Normally एक बार ही देते drug को, साल में एक बार. Specifically, to put it another way, a person will not get affected by this helminthic infection for a whole year. So in some textbooks you will find that ivermectin, the dose will be written as 10 to 15 mg once. So khali ek hi baar de rahe aap. That means that you are giving it once a year, but generally it is expected that the helminthic infection will not go on for a year after being diagnosed. Now, mechanism of action is, it is believed that it will paralyze the worm. It will cause tonic paralysis. Tonic paralysis is spastic paralysis. ठीक है, by increasing GABA activity. ठीक है, paralyzes the worm and it will expel it out. Now, adverse effects related to this drug include abdominal pain, can cause ECG changes. Be careful when you are giving it with arrhythmics, anti-arrhythmic drugs. It can cause hypersensitivity. This hypersensitivity is more due to the dying microfilaria rather than the drug itself. Because of the patient will have rashes, itching, and redness, sometimes fever as well. Okay. Uh, Generally, sometimes the patient will also have nausea and vomiting. Vomiting. ठीक है. Dose will vary. Generally आप albendazole के साथ ivermectin देते हैं, so you will give around 0.2 mg per kg in adults. Yeah, depending on the body weight of the patient, depending on the age of the patient, the total dose will vary. So in adults it is around 15 mg. 75 kilograms का अगर कोई adult है तो you will give around 15 mg of the drug along with albendazole. You will give around 400 mg albendazole. This is given once. You might continue albendazole, but ivermectin is only given once. Okay. Now you should not use ivermectin. There are a few contraindications. Do not use ivermectin if you are giving it with if the patient is already on another drug that has GABA activity. If you are giving it, let's suppose that the patient has diazepam or any other benzodiazepine, या फिर valproic acid. ठीक है, anything that is acting on GABA उसके साथ मत दो. And you should not give this in patients who have meningitis or sleeping sickness. Trypanosomiasis जिसको है उन लोगों को नहीं देना. Contraindicated in patients with meningitis, sleeping sickness, or patients on other drugs affecting GABA activity. Okay. This will be BZDs, benzodiazepines, and valproic acid. There are others as well. These are standard examples. Okay. Now, coming to PK of the drug, this undergoes oral absorption. This does not enter CNS. Generally undergoes liver metabolism. Specifically, it is sequestered in liver or it is sequestered in fat. Give it an empty stomach. Okay. PK, oral absorption. Give on empty stomach. Doesn't enter CNS. Sequestered in liver and fat. T half is long. T half is around 48 to 60 hours. Okay. So it will stay in your body for a long period of time. 2.5 days, 2 to 2.5 days. So with that, we have completed antihelminthics. Tomorrow we'll start drugs for scabies and pediculosis. Okay. And I think scabies, pediculosis ho gaya tha. We'll complete our parasitic, antiparasitics or antiprotozoal drugs. Okay. So, take your attendance.